I'd like to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Peace and safety to the hopefully elect, all the sincere Akim scattered throughout the four corners, pushing his word in sincerity and in truth. For those who don't know, Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, who the world ignorantly calls God, and Yahweh Shai is the name of the only begotten Son, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. This is 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse 20, and it reads, knowing this first, that no prophecy of the scriptures of any private interpretation. And the prophecy that I'm going to go into in this edition, dealing with the lake of fire. And the private interpretation is that it's referring to nuclear missiles. Another private interpretation that is referring to the Lord himself. But I'm going to show you that that lake is referring to people. All right, a multitude of people, a body of people. And the fire is referring to judgment, and the brimstone is part of that judgment. So let me get the first precept in the book of Revelations, chapter 19 and verse 20. And it reads, and the beast was taken, and with him the false prophet that wrought miracles before him, which he deceived them. And this is referring to that lake. All right, the beast, the false prophet. Reading on, it says, which deceived them that received the mark of the beast, and them that worship his image. These both referring to people, all right? A multitude, a body of people, all right? These both were cast alive into a lake of fire burning with brimstone. Now, I'm going to show you through the precepts that this lake is referring to people, all right? Remember, in the book of Proverbs, it tells you that these are dark sayings. These are parables, okay? So the first precept is Revelation 17 and verse 1. And it reads, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, come hither, I will show thee unto thee the judgment. And that's what that fire is referring to, judgment. All right. The brimstone is part of that judgment. We know when you look up the word brimstone, it goes back to volcanoes, to the word sulfur, and we know volcanoes produce sulfur. Okay. So it says, come hither, I will show thee unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. Now we know that great whore is referring to that great dragon, all right? It's referring to Babylon, which Babylon is a parable or metaphorically referring to literal people, which are the Edomites. And for those who don't know, the Edomites are the so-called white men, all right? The so-called Caucasians, okay? So, so now I want to get a precept to show you that this many waters is parabolic, referring to people. And I'm going to jump down to verse 15. And this is Revelation 17 and 15. And it says, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the whore sitteth, are people and multitude and nations and tongues. All right, so that is parabolic, referring to people. All right, showing you that the Lord refers to people as water. Okay, in this particular chapter here. Okay, so now I want to get the next precept in the book of Psalms, chapter 144 and verse 7. And it reads, send thy hand from above, rid me and deliver me out of the great waters, from the hand of strange children. All right, remember that great dragon, that great whore, that great city. All right, all referring to people. All right, literal people. All right, but it's written it's written as a parable, as a metaphor. All right, and we know precept must be upon precept. All right, in order to solve the riddle. All right, because it's also known as a riddle. In order to solve the riddle, you have to use the precepts. All right, so going back to the book of Revelations, chapter 19 and verse 20, and read it without any private interpretations. All right, so it says, and the beast was taken, and with him, all right, referring to people, the false prophet that worked miracles before him, referring to people, which with he deceived them, all right, referring to people that had received the mark of the beast. And side note, I got an update on the mark of the beast, basically showing you that private interpretation of the mark of the beast being the RFID chip, all right, was brought in by the will of man and is not biblical. So Lord will, I get into that in a later video. But reading on, it says, which with he deceived them, referring to people that had received the mark of the beast, and them, referring to people again, all right, that worship his image. These both, referring to people, were cast alive into a lake. All right, now I want to look up this word lake here, the definition of the word lake here. And as you can see on your screen, it says a large body of water. All right, remember that sea, all right, is a multitude of people. All right, so this lake in the book of Revelation is referring to a large body of people. All right, remember the waters are referring to people. Okay, surrounded by land. Okay, so let's see here. In Wikipedia, it says a lake is an area filled with water, and we know water. In the book of Revelations, what we going into is referring to people, according to Revelation 17 and chapter 1 and chapter 15. So it says a lake is an area filled with water, basically a body of water, all right, a multitude of people, all right. So that's what it's referring to when it refers to the lake, man, all right, a body of people, a multitude of people, all right. Remember the beast, the false prophet, all right, the him, all right, that deceived them, all referring to people, all right, and also them that worship his image. That's your lake, all right. So it says these both was cast alive into the lake of fire, and we know that word fire is referring to the Lord judgment, man. All right, that's what that fire is referring to. All right, so basically, what it's saying is a multitude of people that's going to be judged. All right, burning with brimstone. Okay, so now when you look up this word brimstone here, as you can see in the Strong's definition, it says suffer. All right, and remember Luke 17, the Lord said the same way that he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah is the same way he's going to bring the destruction when the Son of Man is revealed, when the Lord return, when Yahweh shall return. All right, and we know Sodom and Gomorrah was destroyed by fire and brimstone, which are volcanoes. All right, so that's part of the Lord's judgment. All right, so that's what it's referring to when it says the lake of fire, a multitude of people that's going to be judged, all right? And the brimstone is part of the Lord's judgment, okay? So now let's get another precept. Stay in the book of Revelations, chapter 8 and verse, let's see here, verse 7. And I'm going to show you that point further how the Lord used metaphors referring to people. All right, just like we read in Revelation 17, Psalms chapter 144 and 7. So it says, this is Revelation 8 and 7, and it says the first angel sounded, and there followed hell and fire, mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth, and the third part of trees. All right, and these trees is referring to people. All right, when you go back to the book of Genesis, those trees that was in the midst of the garden, that was parabolic, referring to literal people. All right, was burnt up. All right, remember that brimstone. All right, and all green grass was burnt up. Okay, so now let's get a precept and show you that that's referring to people as well. Stay in the book of Revelation, chapter 16 and verse 2. And it says, and the first, Salakia, let's see here. Okay. So let me read verse 7 again. And the first angel sounded, and there followed hell and fire, mingled with blood, and they were cast upon the earth. And the third part of trees, referring to people, was burnt up. That's the them. All right. That's the lake. All right. That's the lake. All right. So it says was burnt up, and all green grass was burnt up. All right. And that's people being referred to as land. So now let's get that precept in Revelation 16 and chapter 2. And it reads, and the first went and poured out his vial, just like we read in Revelation 8, upon the earth. All right, those green, that green grass, that's earth. And there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon men, just like we read in Revelation 8, referring to those trees. All right, when you read the book of Psalms, let's get it right quick. When you read the book of Psalms, chapter 1 and verse 3, it says, and he shall be like a tree, all right, planted by the rivers of water, that bring forth his fruit in the season. His leaf also shall not wither, and whatsoever he doeth shall prosper. All right, referring to men as trees. So when you read Revelation 8 and 7, when it talks about those trees being burned up, this is what it's referring to here in Revelation 16 and 2. It says, and the first went and poured out his vial upon the earth, and there fell a noisome and grievous sore upon the men which had the mark of the beast. All right, just like we read in Revelation 19. And upon them, referring to people which worship his image. All right, and that's part of that lake, man, that body of people, that multitude of people that's referred to as waters. All right, so reading on verse 3, and it says, and the second angel poured out his vial upon the sea, and it became as blood of the dead men, of the dead man, and every living soul died in the sea. All right, and this is also referring to people. Okay, so now let me get a precept here in Matthew to show you that when it refers to the sea, it's also referring to people. All right, it's a metaphor referring to people. Salakia, it's a metaphor. It's parabolic, referring to literal people. Okay, so this is the book of Matthew, chapter 13 and verse 47. Matthew 13:47. And it says, again, the kingdom of heaven is likened to a net. And we know this kingdom of heaven starts with the elect, man. All right, with the knowledge and the understanding of the scriptures, man. Okay, so it says, was cast into the sea. All right, and the sea is referring to people. All right, and that net is referring to this knowledge, man. And you cast this knowledge out into the people. All right, and gather of every kind. Okay, and that's going back to what Revelation 9 and Salakia, Revelation 7 and 9. All nations, multitude, and tongues. All right, so this is Matthew 13:47 again. The kingdom of heaven is likened to a net. All right, which is this, starting with this knowledge that the elect will possess. All right, that was cast into the sea. The sea is referring to the waters, not the lake. The waters. All right, because a sea is a big body of water. All right, a lake is a smaller body of water. All right, so that sea is referring to those waters that we read about in Revelation 17 and 15. All right, so it says that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind. All right, because we know the elect is going to be delivered from amongst all nation, kindred, and tongue and people. All right, not just from amongst so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. All right, he says all nations, and that's what it's referring to when it says and gather of every kind. So let's get another precept in the book of Mark, chapter 1 and verse 17. And it reads, and Yahushua said unto them, come ye after me, and I will make you to become fishers of men. And that would be those who would be casting that net. All right, sort of like what I'm doing right now. I'm casting the net into the sea. All right, and we know the sea is referring to people. And let's get another precept and prove that point further. This is Revelation 7 and verse 2. And it reads, and I saw another angel ascending from the east. And that angel is referring to Yahushua. How do we know that? It says having the seal of the living power, the seal of Yahweh. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels to whom it was given to hurt the earth. And that was earth referring to that green that we read in in the book of Revelation chapter 16, I believe. So it says was given to hurt the earth and the sea. All right, and we know this is parabolic because you can't hurt the sea, man. All right, the sea is referring to people. All right, that's who's going to be hurt. Those in Revelation 19 and 20. All right, that body of people. All right, that lake of fire, meaning that body of people that's going to be judged. All right, because that fire is referring to judgment. All right, not just literal fire. The brimstone symbolizes the volcanoes. Okay, that's part of the Lord's judgment. All right, but we know the Lord had four sore judgments. All right, so it said it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. Verse 3, this is the point. It says, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees. All right, and we know this is parabolic, referring to people. All right, referring to literal people. All right, so it says, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads. Okay, so this is what it's referring to in Revelations 19 and 20. All right, it's referring to people. So it says, and the beast was taken, and with him, all right, referring to people, the false prophet that walked miracles before him, which with deceive them that received the mark of the beast. Okay? Referring to people. And them that worship his image. These both, all right, referring to people, all right, a multitude, a body of people, all right. We know when you look up the word lake, it's a body of water. We know the waters is referring to people, all right. So it's referring to a body of people, a multitude of people, and these are the people right here that we're reading about, all right. The beast, the false prophet, them that took the mark of the beast, and them that worship the beast image. All right, that's a multitude. All right, that's a body of people. All right, these both was cast alive into a lake of fire. All right, which is judgment. How we know that? Burning with brimstone, which is judgment. All right, referring to Luke 17. Verse 28, when it refers to the Lord destroying, bringing the same destruction that he brought during the time of Sodom and Gomorrah. All right, and basically that's the point. And shalom.